name is not on the list.
Well, we'll make it known very soon. We'll publish the list.
So I was just going to inform you that I'll be in church. You know, it's Sunday, so I'm in church all day.
We'll serve the Lord together.
Praying for the birth of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Maybe you will sleep at home on Sunday morning, Sunday night and come on Monday morning. So it's the same thing.
But it's good to have you join us again. And it's a lovely season. It's a season of joy. It's a season of happiness, a season of gift. I do well to make someone smile, make someone happy this very season. It's very important. And, like Emmanuel said, we'll be celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, so we should eschew violence. We should imbibe the virtues of Jesus Christ this very season. So we're set to take you on that jolly ride again around the world of polity, bringing in municipal analysis and all of the interviews that we'll be looking at today. But let's take this break. When we return to bringing you the newspapers. All right, thank you very much. So let's start with the papers this morning. We start as usual this morning with a Punch newspaper. Cash limits not anti-people. CBN insists reps knock Emefiele. With the riders, policy will open rural underserved communities to economic opportunities. As the CBN deputy governor, Apex Bank orders 500 million pieces of new notes. It says nation ready for cashless economy. Emefiele flouting CBN Act. Policy ill-timed and irresponsible. Lawmakers, ex-ADC chairman. We'll see the end of this debate, controversy about the cash limit policy anytime soon, evidently. So we're
not going to see it anytime.
He said it did not appear before the House. Someone has appeared and he will have his deputy.
Yes.
The newly sworn in deputy for a second time appeared, and the reps evidently are not happy with that situation, and they're not comfortable or convinced, with the explanations offered by the woman.
Well, first, I think that Emefiele is trying to, without knowing it, undermine the National Assembly. We've seen people appear in court via Zoom. We've seen them appear in court via internet link. If you say you are seeking medical care outside the country, which again speaks to medical tourism, a different problem on its own by government officials.
Oh, was that what he said? I thought he said it was a way unofficial assignment.
No, he sent. I saw a letter, the response that he was on. He was seeking medical care in, I think, the US or the UK. And so even if you were away on either medical tourism or official, you can appear via Zoom, you can appear via internet link, But he seems to not really just care about. That's how I see it, about what the lawmakers are doing or trying to do. And I think I want to tilt towards the views of the lawmakers and the ex-ADC chairman. I did say yesterday that the policy was ill-timed. There are things you have to put in place before the NFIU chairman, CEO were reading yesterday, talked about the fact that the CBN will have to give orientation to market women and local people on how to use internet. For me, that should have come first. They should have been told how to do those things before you now introduce.
Putting the cart before the horse.
Before you now introduce the policy to them, equip them with adequate knowledge to handle the policy. But like you said, we're not going to see the end of this anytime soon.
Well, so, we wait to see, but there's been some reaction from the CBN, backing down under pressure, increasing the limits, or some people are still not satisfied, like you said. The orientation that they said they will be doing now should have been done well before. Now, perhaps the reaction and the reception of the policy would have been different. Okay, so beside the nameplate, Yoruba Nation agitators welcome Akintoye's exit. Back Adeniran. What the man has explained, talking about Akintoye, given reasons as to why he stepped down. He said he's advanced in age, his strength can no longer cope with the demands of the office. But it appears that some people want to make more out of this. Maybe it appears that there was an initial rift within the group, but then the letter he wrote to his the former deputy, who is now the Alano, was clear and explicit that he is resigning because of his age and inability to cope with some of the demands of office again. Yes.
Yeah. I actually saw that letter, but I heard grapevine and all of that, that they had to deal with some money issues and some persons not being satisfied with how some issues have been handled. But one thing we're not used to seeing, and I think is gradually defining our polity, is people actually stepping down for very valid reasons.
I mean, it doesn't matter. You don't occupy office for life.
For life, yes. If you feel that you cannot continue, even if you're an elected official,
yeah.
if you feel, there's a very good example recently, Liz Truss of the UK. If you feel you can no longer deliver on a mandate, on the reason you were put there, feel free to step away rather than mess up the office and your own reputation in the process.
And your family's name.
Yes.
Because, we attach a lot of families' name.
Yes.
And then your generation as well. Some people will see in this part of the world. Yes. NNPC, marketers plan 148 naira per litre. Tinubu insists on subsidy removal. That's above the nameplate there. It's an interesting one. NNPC marketers plan 148 naira per litre. Is that the depot price or the pump price?
Pump price. To be interesting to see that story on page 28. But I think we shouldn't even be talking about price for now. Let's look at the availability. Do we even have?
I think we have. So I think the problem is that people naturally will go to where the price. Also for the queues, people going to where the price is cheaper, to the NNPC stations and some of the other major marketers. But it's also good that one of the presidential candidates is coming out clean on the subsidy question.
Yes.
So whether you like it or not, we are going to remove it. So what happens next is what we may not be able to predict. Because by my reading of it, from our understanding of the Nigerian situation, the subsidy seems to be like a social capital, seems to be like a welfare plan for the Nigerian people. That, for many people, that's the only social cover they get to enjoy. And so removing that, because almost all of our national life is intertwined with petrol. So the moment the price moves up, if subsidy is removed, for instance, and the price goes to 300 naira per litre, you can be rest assured that every other thing associated will skyrocket, So, and how that will be managed is the big question. It's not a question about removing the subsidy. Because the impact on the ordinary people and the ordinary folks, that's the big question. So just above the nameplate still, FG may reintroduce telecom tax in 2023. That's according to a report. It also been introduced this year before.
Yes.
Before the minister stepped it down.
I think it was already. It was already actually. Some of the data and airtime and call tariffs rose. I think there was an addition of 15 naira and above on some of those things. But the Minister for Communications, now what's his name? Issa Pantami reversed it. So it went back to the normal price. But I also think that just with the CBN policy, it was just to test public opinion and then see how it can be reintroduced in a way that will better suit Nigerians and won't have that much outrage.
You seem to like conspiracy theories.
Oh yes, I like.
Okay, well, so above the nameplate here is 2023 budget. National Assembly uncovers errors, delays passage. I mean, so this conspiracy at the National Assembly. I wonder why we make this for me as schoolboy errors. Shouldn't have happened in the first place. There's a whole lot of team, legislative aides, consultants, experts, and backed by the bureaucracy of the National Assembly, which is the NAS Commission. I do not think these issues should be happening.
I read the comment of the Senate President yesterday, and he was saying that the budget sent by President Buhari had a lot of errors.
It's from the president.
Yes, it was error laden. That was what he.
So that's why they've been working on it. Then it should have been cleaned.
They should not have. It should not have even come to light. It should have been returned.
It should have been cleaned, and so both parties earn humongous.
Yes.
Nigerians are known for using big words. I've had that joke of some other African, comedians. But in fairness, they earn a lot, and they should justify it. If at your level, if you're given a job, you're expected to deliver. Without because this will waste some time.
Yes.
So
now they said they will reconvene on the 20th of December. That's in 5 days.
So there'll be some disruption to a lot of things. But going forward, I think we should do better. Bottom strip of the paper: killers of US-based hotelier, Lagos Ibadan highway kidnappers arrested. And you can see the pictures of the suspect right there, and FG inaugurates 145 billion naira safe school plan, seeks financial support. Driver dies, passengers escape as container crushes vehicles, and manufacturers pay 403 billion naira tax, lament economic crunch. The container is sad.
Yeah.
I feel there should be some safety protocol around carrying those containers. I mean, these are some of the challenges with our country, such that even you do not feel safe. I heard the story of a lady who said part of why she decided to run away or change or relocate, immigrate, was because every day from work, she drives between trailers every day, back and forth within trailers in Lagos. I mean, her route to the office is such that she will be sandwiched within trailers, some of them carrying containers. So there should be a safety protocol around when you carry in trailers. Are they fastened well, to the vehicle, to the to the bed carrier?
In daytime.
In daytime. These are questions, and then are the cars okay? Are there specific routes that they should take? Because this is not the first time. We hope that this is the last time. It's happened again and again.
Yes. It's a menace. Here in Osogbo, I was telling someone yesterday when I went out that for the first time I saw a bullion van convoy being bullied. They are used to bullying people, and I saw them being bullied by one of these vehicles, one of these
trucks.
Yes, they wanted to overtake, and then the guy sped up, and they had to reduce because they were also scared of probably the containers falling, so they had to withdraw. They had to step back and allow the truck go. But then it speaks to the fact that we do not, our agencies, the FRC in Lagos, the VIO, the last man, all of that, they also need to do more. Some of these vehicles, when you see them, are evidently not fit. Some of these containers, you see them shaking. You see some of the trucks without the rear tires complete. You see some of the tires threadbare. And you wonder who allowed this.
They're supposed to have two tires. Yes, you have only one.
Yes.
Or you have one that is not of the size.
Same size, yes. So you ask who allows this, go on the road. And then it causes havoc and people lose their lives.
Our country is... a place where anything goes, so most times there are rules, there are laws, but implementation is haphazard. It depends on, and then even Nigerians, we seem to be an unruly bunch. I'm sorry, but unfortunately, when we get to functional societies, we tend to behave. So what's wrong with us here, such that we do things the way we like? I told you before that someone once referred to us as a syllabus of error. It's a syllabus you check and not to. We do not do this. Nigerians have done this. Let us this way. But let's start with a Punch newspaper.
Yeah, move on to the Daily Trust newspaper very quickly. Daily Trust newspaper has at its banner headline, cash withdrawal limit, reps to insist on policy reversal. Wamako wants Emefiele sacked. Policy not politically motivated. CBN. 500 pieces of notes printed. As on page 4.
500 million.
500 million pieces of the new notes. Now you begin to wonder in what denominations. But then we'll get to see how that will circulate in no distant time. And below the nameplate, military probes killing of civilians in Zamfara airstrikes. Military probes killing of civilians in Zamfara airstrikes. We talked about the military managing collateral damage yesterday, and it's good that they're trying to look into some of the circumstances surrounding those airstrikes. Murik accuses Lagos principal of forcefully removing students' hijab. That's in Lagos there. And NPAN, NGE urge Arise TV APC campaign cancel to sheath sword. That's been defining the future of the media space in the last few weeks. The back and forth between Arise TV and the Nation, both platforms using this day and the Nation to come at each other. It's time to really sheath the sword and restore faith in the integrity of the media.
It is.
It's really time. And below, at the bottom strip of the newspaper, bandits raid Kaduna communities, abduct 37 in 3 days. That's on page 16. Man 75 lures minors with 100 naira rapes them. I hope that he gets what he deserves in terms of justice for the minors. And regional bias may lead to inconclusive poll in 2023, Bishop Fearon. We've been hearing so much about the next year's election possibly being inconclusive because of the interest that people have. You know, the three leading candidates now seem to have a really large movement, and a lot of analysts are projecting that people may vote according to their region and then lock in the result of the elections.
Well, so, I mean, I feel that will not be too good for us. So what we need is someone with a pan-Nigerian mandate, not a sectional leader. And so for me, for those who appeal to ethnic sentiments, I feel they are not wise enough, because if you check the spread of all of the candidates, so there are 2 candidates from the north. I mean, talking about the 4 leading candidates now, the 2 of them from the north, one from the southwest, one from the southeast. So if each of the candidates are to be queued, you know, if you are to queue behind your candidate from your region, and so the region with the highest voting power will ultimately win. So that means power stays in the north, except, okay, the 2 candidates now also divide the votes of the north. But even if you consider what comes from the northeast or what comes from the northwest, it appears that after the northwest is the southwest that has the highest number of votes again. And so when you look at the different dynamics, it's not really good that we preach and canvass for votes along the ethnic sentiment. I mean, I've had people say, you know, if you are an Igbo and you're not supporting Obi, you are this and that. It doesn't work that way. If you are Yoruba, you're not supporting Ashwaji. No, it shouldn't be. What we should,
the interest of the
the next leader for Nigeria should be, you know, a pan-Nigeria, a nationalist, not a sectional leader, one that can unite. This nation is too fractured at this moment, too divisive at this moment to continue this way. So the next leader Nigeria needs to be one with a pan-Nigeria mandate.
Very important. I made a tweet some days ago that Nigeria is so divided. I was in a vehicle, public vehicle, and some of the conversations I overheard on the forthcoming elections did not speak well of a Nigeria that is truly one. The divisive comments, it was just disheartening to see people see others as less human beings, to see them stereotype others because they do not belong to the same. And I begin to wonder, when you want to transact business, ethnicity doesn't matter to you.
I mean, if you go to the hospital and you need a doctor to treat you,
why
I want to fly a plane.
In politics, we should learn to get to that level where we can, at least, if not go beyond it, but bring it down to the barest minimum. That's all on the Daily Trust newspaper.
So we go to the Nation newspaper now. The banner headline: Tinubu, multiple exchange rates, petrol subsidy to go. With the rider APC candidates, promises to fix power, introduce students' loan. Jari's quote there on the front page: I'm no CBN, but I know that could go away if I'm the president. When you vote for me, write it down, confront me when it's time. I guess it's talking about the petrol subsidy. I think this was at the business launch yesterday.
Yes.
You know, we had a luncheon with business owners who sacked the business forward, and it was held in Victoria Island, Lagos. You know, attended by eminent entrepreneurs, including young folks. You know, some of these young tech. Yep, tech bros. What do you call tech them? Tech bros. How do you guys call them tech bros?
Tech bros, bro.
And tech Cs also.
Yeah, tech Cs is, so it's just, something like that when you come from the United States and you want to be, all of those things, so tech bros and tech Cs. I don't know how you guys still here in this country, but, we'd like to just let you know that it's tech bros and tech Cs. Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm confused on your behalf. Well, just below the nameplate, budget passage shifted to next week. We talked about that earlier on. Al Mustafa loses AA presidential ticket, and above the nameplate, 94% of cash transactions falls within 500,000 naira limit. And criminals won't stop 2023 poll. says Minister. INEC predicts 50% turnout.
I'm tempted to say amen to that.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Okay. We have the picture. I mean, so you can. I've been trying to refrain from speaking about this, but you can almost really be sure that the nation is where we have something huge about Tinubu, either the banner headline or the picture. You know, there's been consistency in the last few weeks. I mean, it is understandable also.
Yes, very understandable.
Just as you could also, if Oji Uzokali were to be running for office, then you could also guess the direction of what the Sun newspapers would be. I'm supposed to also see what the DC newspaper is also doing. Yeah, you know. So for those of us who are not in the media, something about media proprietorship, the influence of media ownership and whatever, you know, it comes to play once in a while. The theories. Federal government attacks Atiku over border reopening promise. Okay, I mean, this is what experts should weigh in.
Yes,
Atiku is promising that it's going to open the borders to crash the price of food. There's been a way high inflation, food inflation in the country, but it appears that the federal government is saying that policy will be counterproductive. Yes.
Well, I feel that some of these policies are they shouldn't be cast in stone. They should not be absolute. Analysts will tell you that you have to go along with the trends. You have to study the trends at the moment and apply it as it is happening. So if Atiku is promising and the federal government is saying something different, the analysts should come in and tell us which would be better for Nigeria's economy.
Okay, Wike allies to unveil preferred presidential candidates next month. Rivers governor rules out support for serial defector. Who is the serial defector?
Wike is in the news almost every other day.
You know, so I feel the drama is spent, really.
Yes, it is. Some of his energy has probably been expended, and he isn't granting much of those interviews anymore. He isn't dancing.
Because, I mean, that's lost traction somewhat now.
Yes, a lot of persons have now just seen him as, someone who is a rabble-rouser, and it's not just...
but he has his own supporters, though.
Yeah, he does. But at some time, when someone overflows issues, it just... I mean, you've made your point. Let it be sorted out, you know. That's how I see it. You've made your point.
But so my question is, who is that serial defector?
Well, it probably is the person that he has been saying he will not support. And since the story says they want to unveil their preferred presidential candidate next month, we can also be sure that's referring to a presidential candidate.
So his party. Okay, so you're saying we should exercise some patience. Yes, January is just by the... Yes. Just okay. So we'll eventually know who Wike and the Gang of Five will be supporting. Well, the bottom strip of the paper: suspects in Lagos Ibadan road abductions arrested, 10 die after power surge. That's in Zaria, I guess.
Yes, Zaria.
Very unfortunate situation. There should be some compensations from the electricity distribution company.
Yes, there should be. Some agencies need to start taking responsibility for some issues that come as a result of their own problems. You know, there's a transformer around Agumbelewo here in Oshogbo State that has this tendency of always going off and sparking, you know, but nothing has been done about it. It shouldn't get to the point where someone dies as a result of that. And, you know, like in Zaria, so the electricity company, power regulators and authorities should please find a way to compensate those affected and ensure that it does not happen again. That's the most important thing.
Well, so, you know, I read the explanation of the distribution company also yesterday saying one of their low tension or high tension wires just snapped, you know, and then maybe it fell on maybe the low tension. One shall fell on the other, and then I think that was what triggered it. It's a very unfortunate situation, but that's with the Nation newspaper.
Well, let's take the last paper for today, the Guardian newspaper. The banner headline says, lawmakers' constituency projects delay 2023 budget. As on the Guardian newspaper this morning, with the rider, Senate fixes December 28th for passage of appropriation bill. That's the part of the renewed face-off, according to The Guardian, between the executive arm of government and the National Assembly, talking about constituency projects delaying the 2023 budget. Now, below the nameplate, just above the banner headline of the Guardian newspaper this morning, NBA sues Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Tallen, over kangaroo comment. I'll remove petrol subsidy, Tinubu vows at business lunch. Obey Supreme Court orders on Soko oil feed. Bielsa tells RMAFC. Airline operators risk imprisonment, fines for non-remittance of sales charges. And below the banner headline this morning, you can see U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit. Beyond the symbolism, a catch-up race with China. You see some pictures coming out of that U.S.-Africa Summit that held in Washington, D.C. recently. That's on the Guardian newspaper this morning. And at the bottom strip, 2023, Emefiele affirms CBN's neutrality, states benefits of policies. I don't think Emefiele has enough clean hands to come to Equity and talk about neutrality, but it's good that he's saying that the CBN will remain neutral and also trying to put out the benefit of some of the bank's policies.
I mean, interesting. It's very important that all key institutions, their neutrality are assured. Just aside out of the Independent National Electoral Commission, all of these other agencies are critical stakeholders and key partners of INEC. The election ecosystem. So it's always just too important that their neutrality is guaranteed. That's what makes strong institutions and ultimately builds a strong state. It's when institutions are functional, they are strong, they are not susceptible to manipulation by forces, they're not susceptible to being, pushed around for personal or selfish gains. It ultimately rubs off on the state and makes the states even stronger.
Well, we are expecting that all of these agencies in government, ministries, departments, agencies, and all of those institutions will remain neutral in the interest of Nigerians and the common man. Well, that's all we have for you on the newspapers this morning. We've taken you through the Punch, The Nation, The Guardian, and the Daily Trust newspaper. When we come back from this break, we'll be introducing our guests and having our interview segment. To stay with us.
Èdè Yorùbá jẹ́ ọ̀kan lára àwọn èdè tí wọ́n ń sọ ní agbègbè Niger Congo. Èdè Yorùbá gbajúgbajà ní àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè tó ń bẹ ní ẹkùn ìwọ̀ oòrùn ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀. Ó kéré tán, àwọn ènìyàn bíi mílíọ̀nù 14 ló ń sọ èdè Yorùbá lónìí. Ètò akọ́mọlédè ló ń dé sójú ìwòran yín láti iléeṣẹ́ móhùnmáwòrán WSTV ìkànnì 150 channel 190 lórí StarTimes. Folúṣọ́ Ayaolúwagbémiga, ìyá ìjọ pèdèpèdè, ìyá akọ́mọlédè ló kọ tèmi. Yorùbá dùn púpọ̀, Yorùbá ò lè kú, Yorùbá ò lè parun. Tiwa làṣà, tiwa lèdè, tiwa nìṣẹ̀ṣe, akọ́mọlédè.
Atótó arére.
Kò ṣeé má gbọ́ ìròyìn.
Bẹ́gùn ò bá jáde, mọ̀rìnwó la kọ́kọ́ rí. Ó ọwọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ ní síwájú ìjó ẹsẹ̀ kàtàkàtà ní síwájú rìn bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti ń gbúrò wa a tún ti dé náà nù ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò Owambe Unlimited pẹ̀lú èmi ọmọ yín olólùfẹ́ yín ọ̀rẹ́ yín Suliat tẹ́túmọ̀ sí Morenikeji ẹ lè pè mí ní Susu tó bá wẹ̀ lómi a sọ pé ìyálòde àríyá gbogbo orúkọ tẹ́ ẹ bá pè mí kò sí èyí tí mi ò ní jẹ yín ẹ farabalẹ̀ kẹ́ ẹ máa gbádùn ètò Owambe Unlimited lórí ìkànnì Western Spring Television ní ìkànnì 190 ibẹ̀ ni Owambe Unlimited ń bọ̀ wá ẹ fàkùrẹ̀ tẹ̀dí kẹ́ ẹ máa gbádùn ètò àríyá wa.
Wọ́n sọ fún yín pé ẹ máa wo Owambe Unlimited lórí Western Spring Television.
Sports is a culture on its own. It has its own language, its own people, with their own way of life. The world of sports is never void of actions, stories, dramas, and scandals. I guess you need a sports show that can walk the walk and talk the talk.
On this show, we answer all your sporting questions. The whens, the whys, the wheres, and even the what ifs. Sports Spring is that show that will give you that new lease of life you've been looking for in sport journalism. Join me, Joseph Atewe,
And your sports Amazon, Nengi Enes.
on this station, Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
Let's talk sports. Let's speak the most universal.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. It's here on to Morning Spring, and it's coming to you from Western Spring Television, where we say it as it is. You can watch us live on StarTimes channel 190 on their DTT platform, and also watch us live on our YouTube channel, Western Spring Television, and check us out, all of our activities on our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is at Western Spring Television. But at Twitter, it's actually WSTV_NG. So let's bring you the interview at this point now. We heard the ANAP poll, and that should be like the third in its series, in the series of the poll, you know, checking the gauge and assessing the performance or acceptability of the front runners in the presidential race. So the ANAP poll came up with yet another poll just some days back, and projected that the candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, will win next year's election. Emmanuel, you've seen that poll, haven't you?
Yes, of course. I have seen the poll, and I'd just like to quickly give out the results that we saw there. In the September poll, that's Obi was tied with Tinubu at 16% in the North Central, with Atiku of PDP scoring 9%, and Rabiu Kwakwanso of the New Nigeria People's Party scoring 2%. But in the latest poll released by ANAP, Obi pulled clear of Tinubu in the North Central, scoring 24%, which represents 8% increase from the September poll, while Tinubu scored 9%, a 7% decrease from the last poll.
Well, so, I mean, let's bring in our guest this morning. Our guest is a former special advisor on education to former Governor Adegboyega Oyetola, is a chieftain of the APC and is a deputy spokesman of the Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu Presidential Campaign Council here in Osun State. Mr. Jamiu Olawumi, I should say Alhaji Jamiu Olawumi, joins us in the studio this morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Morning Spring.
It's a pleasure to be here and to be within this ambience, very beautiful studio, and inviting environment. I think it's a very good investment in the right direction. I wish you well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so I mean, let's get started. You heard Emmanuel read out the polls, and so this is not the first time. So they're saying your candidate, you know, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is losing ground, and it was projected not to win the election. They're saying Peter Obi is a candidate to beat.
Yeah. Thank you. Any candidate, any Nigerian that has enough courage to vie for presidency is always a man to beat. After all, you and I, we don't have the resources, we don't have the audacity, we don't have the confidence enough, good enough to say, I want to be president of Nigeria. So all of them, they are candidates to be. Every candidate now is a candidate to be. And we are not giving chances. We know that it is a right of all Nigerians to wanting to be the president. So that is on the general level. On a specific level, opinion poll, yes, it works in higher climes. It doesn't work here. The opinion poll that gave Obi the brightest chance was released about 4 days ago. Obi was in Parakou yesterday. There was a scanty crowd to welcome. And that is even in the southeast, in the south, very close, sharing border with the southeast. Immediately you leave the River State, you are going to Imo. That's one. Number two is the opinion poll is it is not credible. I'll tell you why it is not credible. Any opinion poll that will not be looking at regional inclusion, what we are doing now, I'll tell you what. For the first time, we're back into the 1979 political arrangement when it comes to aspirations. You have in 1979 Baba Awolowo, you have Shagari, you have Azikwe, representing the 3 main regions then of the country. We have now, because you cannot, Nigeria has been so divided that everybody sees its group, its ethnic group as its base. And you have 4 people. Atiku, who was the vice president from Northeast. You have Kwankwaso from Kano, who was Minister of Defense and 2-term governor. You have Asiwaju from the Southwest, where the tribe counts a lot to people around here, who has also been governor for 8 years. You have Obi from the Southeast, who was governor for 8 years. Any opinion poll that is not considerably interested in the arrangement. Let me give you this. There was opinion poll in 2018 in Osun on who wins the election. Was it 2018 or 2014? 2014, on who wins the election. Based on charisma and previous records of certain candidates, the opinion poll shoot them up. But they didn't make it. There was a particular candidate who was secretary to the state government for 7.5 years, who scored just 8,000 votes across the state. And the opinion poll then gave him 36%. So opinion poll, who and who, which area, who are the respondents? Young people, people from other regions who are located in particular region. And in this case, let me tell you this, we have always fact-checked the performances of all the candidates. Nobody is touching the critical areas who we will describe as a dog handlers in election, like Asiwaju. And the opinion poll will not go to the polling center to cast ballots. So we are watching. But I know that this opinion poll, this type of opinion poll that is, if you background it very well, you know there's some snippets of hypocrisy.
Okay, I'll just, before Femi comes in, I'd just like to read out to you the demographic, the distribution across geopolitical zones for that poll.
Yeah.
In the North Central, Obi had 24%, Asiwaju had 9%.
Who are the respondents?
We'll get that. There is also the graphics. Atiku Abubakar had 10%, Rabiu Kwankwaso had 2%. The undecided was 29%. Northeast, Obi 8%, Bola Tinubu 15%, Atiku 23%, Rabiu 2%. Northwest, Obi 11%, Bola Tinubu 15%, Atiku Abubakar 17%, Rabiu Kwankwaso 6%. Southeast, Obi 50%, Asiwaju 1%, Atiku 1%, Rabiu 0%. South, Obi 46, Bola Tinubu 9, Atiku 3, Rabiu 1, Southwest, Obi 15th, Bola Tinubu 22, Atiku 4%, and Rabiu Kwakwanso 1%. The percentage of registered voters, that's
does it not interest you, the report from Southeast?
Yes, of course, it is very interesting, and it is expected. You know, the same way Asiwaju won.
That justifies my position.
Yes, Asiwaju also won the poll in the Southwest, 22%. That was the highest in the Southwest, and that's the distribution of the demographic of that participation in the polls. Now, what does this? What do you think this?
What is the percentage of respondents to the Nigerian population, especially those who have collected their PVC? What is the percentage?
Well,
then they look at the method of methodology in handling the respondents.
Well, for polls conducted,
was it disclosed?
Yes, of course, it was disclosed. There's a document on that by Peter Side Atedo that can be made. Recourse can be made to. But the question now is, do you see your candidate losing, favor? Do you see him losing ground in terms of this poll?
I've not even dreamt of it. Not to talk of looking at it. I'm not looking at it because my candidate is the candidate to beat. I'll tell you why. Nobody has built bridge across the Niger like Asiwaju. And what we are seeing, what we are meeting, is the type of stakeholders that are even craving to talk with us, to talk to us, to look at what we have in stock. We are not even, we are seeing them as coming behind us, and we're working harder every day.
All right, so now that you said you're working harder, this is a question I've been asking some spokespersons or some members of PCCs for different parties. If you were to pick a particular candidate that would give your candidate a run for his money, who would that candidate be? Out of the other three leading.
I will let you know this. All the candidates, like I did say when we started this, will give us a good run for our money. At least we need a family compound. So everybody is up and doing, but within their capacity and capabilities.
So have you found any loopholes? There's been so much news circulating, around about certain things about your candidate.
Like what?
Some issues around his background, some issues around some of his dealings and exploits in the past. But do you think that we
have always told people that if you want his background, we have told people that you need to do DNA test for him. And Nigeria is sophisticated enough for us to invite somebody for his DNA. Please invite him for his DNA. And I also want to warn that you might need to go to the heaven to meet his mother for the DNA.
The DNA facilities in Nigeria, you need not go meet anybody.
How many minutes does it take?
There will be other relatives of the family who are around.
Then we're looking at what are they saying about him? The loophole I've seen is that people said they have alleged that it's not heady enough, but I've seen him creating a loophole in that. He has been doing campaign consultation every day. Asiwaju does not sleep more than 3 hours in the 24 hours, and you say it's not fine, it's not living well, it's not healthy. People of that opinion should have to examine what is wrong with them. Because as young as I am, and as young you are, you cannot afford not to sleep for 21 hours every day. And somebody will tell you are not healthy. Can you junket like he's doing? Yesterday was in Lagos, consulting with younger business groups. The other day was in Abuja. Even let me tell you this, a personal experience. I was to defend something in the House of Assembly when I was in office. And it was to hold by 11. I was in Jos. The day previous. I had to go by road to Abuja, get to Lagos by 8 in the morning, then bought another flight to Ibadan before I took a charter taxi to Osogbo. After the appearance at the House of Assembly, I could not do anything again. That was just 2 days. Somebody has been going about his campaign almost every day. And people are saying it's not healthy. Do they expect him to be eating stones or cracking iron so that they will know it's healthy?
Okay, so I mean, you asked for some of the details of the poll.
Please, let's have it.
On the ANAP Foundation website, it said these results were pulled from 1,000 respondents, after which ANAP Foundation conducted similar polls with a 2,000 and 3,000 respondents sample size.
Of 90 million.
The difference in the results was not significant. I mean, so, but, you know,
it's quite significant.
No, it has to be a sample size, and this is following up on, it is not only the ANAP polls that we're seeing here, there's also the NOI polls. We've seen like 2-3 different polls now conducted, you know, going towards the same direction. Does that not say something?
Let me tell you this. Opinions, data are best collected when you have people participating who are doing organized activity, like journalists, like medical doctors, like engineers. But you cannot just get to anywhere and pick on somebody who you have not backgrounded very well, giving you data. Most of the times that you have opinion polls, they are paid for. I'm a practitioner, and I must tell you. And you place the piper, dictate the tune. A lot of this, the Obi camp has been in crisis over the allegation of people supporting paying to his personal account. This type of opinion poll will also swell his account because people will think he has grant. But when you want to sponsor, look at the activities and reactions of people to the calls and invites to his political program. And don't let me forget to tell you this. Yorùbá máa ń sọ pé ńjọ́ tá a bá ṣe ogun la ṣírọ́. Immediately there's campaign when there's a contest, you have licensed people to tell lies and to be fictitious in their data. So this is not going to dissuade us. It's not going to distract people. It's a distraction.
You call it a distraction.
It's a distraction.
But I mean, so if you check the breakdown in the southeast,
maybe 1,000 people out of 90 million.
No, so they said they did other 2,000 sample size, 3,000 sample size.
Even 1 million.
So I mean, altogether,
1 million of 90 million will be a distraction.
But I mean, so you do not expect that they will do for the entire, voting population. There will be a sample size.
Yeah.
You feel that this is not large enough.
Which of the towns and cities were this opinion poll respondents sourced?
I think it was done across all of the different geopolitical zones.
Like from farmers, like from motor driver, transporters, like from students, like from nurses, like from traders.
Well, which of these demography do you consider to be your own strong point?
No, I'm just asking a question. Whether the information you have...
so, I mean, one would expect that the sample size will cover the different segments of the society, both the literate and the illiterate.
It's a distraction. 1,000, 3,000 is a distraction.
So what would be the comfortable sample size for you then?
I'm not even looking at
you want to take
I'm looking at the participation and response to calls for the Nigerian we desire.
So you do not feel that this poll is a reflection of the perception of the people towards the candidate?
It is not. Let me give you another example here. There was a candidate in the just concluded Austrian election, Honorable Latin Yusuf. Anytime my brother will be talking, he will be saying, I'm the next governor. He came distant to what? He didn't score even up to 3,000 votes. It's a distraction. Opinion poll like this is a distraction.
Now you're saying that you would most likely, or you would rather prefer to base your own judgment on calls for campaign and all of that?
No, not all calls for campaign. Calls for campaign one, and request and desire to meet us on certain critical issues, which my candidate is doing about Nigeria now. We'll do consultation before. Tell me which of the candidates, which among them, will first do consultation a previous day before the major campaign. There are certain places in Nigeria where even governors have never been, as well as you have been there. Critical stakeholders. And meeting people that we call dog handlers in politics. Let me tell you, you will not say, even when a serving honorable member is going to lose his unit, it might not be as bad. Generally, if you're looking at a common denominator and you put it on a fraction, it wouldn't be as worse as 30%. So if you look at all this together, people who canvass, who manage, and who influence the influencers of people who are going to vote, you know that this opinion is a distraction. Second, if you look at what happens on the day of election, opinion poll will become irrelevant. Not even this insignificant figure of 3,000 people across Nigeria, where 90 million people are bid to vote.
All right, so earlier this...
They have only created discussion for media houses.
Earlier this morning, we were talking about the fact that Nigeria is really fragmented now at the moment, and that there were some other results of the poll. But looking at the fact that...
What is the result of the poll in Northeast?
Oh, let me go back to that result.
Please go back to Northeast.
For Northeast...
For the NEET, Atiku Abubakar won 23%.
Yes, 23%.
Is the candidate to lead.
23%.
Yes.
Even where you have Yobe, you have Borno, where the former governor is the VP, where Zulum is doing wonderfully well, and all of that.
Are you saying Tinubu will defeat Atiku in the Northeast?
I'm telling you.
You're sure about that?
I can beat my chest now and forever.
So
what has Atiku done in the Northeast? We created Northeast North Nigerian Development Commission. We handle what we do there. The beneficiaries are known to us, and we know them. Atiku living in Dubai or Abuja.
So these are 6 geopolitical zones now. I was going to ask earlier now. Seeing as this...
Don't let us delve too much on this, yes, because unless you don't agree with that, this figure is significantly low.
But
3,000 people to 90 million people.
But okay, so I asked the question the other time that what would be, in your own opinion, the appropriate sample size? You know, if you're not comfortable with the 3,000,
I'm not even a subscriber to the opinion poll, so I won't give you a particular figure.
But you know, it's a scientific means of gauging, you know, public opinion and knowing the direction of where voters are. You said in Western countries perhaps it will work.
Yes.
But here in Nigeria also,
it has never worked.
Has it never worked, or perhaps it is?
Give me an instance. You are on the feed. I'm no longer on the feed. But give me an instance where opinion poll has worked. Okay, the last Australian election, the opinion poll put Oyetola and Adeleke on neck to neck, and it has remained so neck to neck.
So that is an example of the opinion poll working.
So
is that not a validation that
it's not a validation because
if you look at the margin,
opinion poll that put at neck to neck shoots Oyetola a little bit higher. Did it come into reality when we had the election? Did it?
But you know, opinion polls are not absolute. They are just perception.
Sure, so they give margins of error.
And if you look at the percentage then, and number of people for which the thing was conducted, and the result getting through them, you see that the figure then is robust. This is insignificant.
Okay, so let's go to what I was going to ask you now. There are 6 geopolitical zones.
Okay.
You've just said that Atiku, your candidate will defeat Atiku in the northeast. Now, the north central, northeast, northwest, southeast, south, southwest. Where would you identify as a stronghold of your candidate, and where do you see him not performing well?
My candidate has strength in 3 geopolitical zones in the north. Don't forget, Kwara is part of North Central, Kogi is part of North Central, Niger is part of North Central. In Southwest, where former Governor of Ayoshe and Fayemi are working together for a candidate, tell me who is going to win that state. Tell me who's going to win Ondo State. Tell me who's going to win Lagos. Who's going to win Ogun. Where Seyi Makinde, Governor, His Excellency, has adopted the position of the southwestern leaders, Afenifere and others, by being represented by his deputy at the meeting in Akure. Tell me he's going to win that place with his efforts and Senator Folarin there. Tell me he's going to win Osun State.
You're confident that your party will win Osun State also, having just lost a governorship election?
It's in contention. Lost to overvoting. Already established before the tribunal. So I have not lost the election in Osun. We are only awaiting judicial pronouncement.
But okay, so, if you check that poll, your candidate is from the Southwest.
Of course.
The poll gave your candidate 22% of winning the Southwest. And that actually is the highest.
When we started this discussion,
yes,
I laid a premise. The premise of pro-tribalistic nature, going by the 4 candidates for which the opinion poll was conducted. You understand? If this opinion poll, the percentage of the 1,000 or 3,000 is conducted in Lagos, and you are not careful, you are picking a Southeasterner as your respondent, the report you are going to get will be different.
But so, Lagos is just one of the 6 states in the Southwest. No. If your candidate got 22% in the Southwest, isn't that low?
What is the figure allotted to Southwest? You don't know. You don't know. From the 3,000.
Yeah, we don't know. But
I've also told you that this opinion poll was instigated. It has
been instigated by who?
I'm telling you, opinion polls in Nigeria, for the purpose of election, are always sponsored.
Including the one that gave Oyetola a slight margin in 2018 or the last election?
Yes, it could be sponsored.
Was that particular one sponsored?
I did not inquire. But this one, the instant that we are talking about, I can tell you, when you fact check properly in the no distant time, you know there's a coloration there.
Okay, so if you're talking about Asiwaju's 22% in the Southwest, how about the Northeast?
It's wrong.
How about the Northeast, where he got 15%? If we were to go by your explanation of pro-tribalism now, Atiku or some other northerner, Kwakwanso should have won overwhelmingly. The same way Obi had 50% in the Southeast.
Let me tell you this. It depends on who sponsors what, who is interested in what. This opinion poll, not because they are giving it to Labour Party, but I know it is sponsored by elements in the Labour Party.
If it had gone the other way, the way of your candidate, would you have...
I would not even be here to be talking about it.
So the poll gave Peter Obi 50% in his own region.
Yeah.
Do you think that's slightly in the right direction?
Yeah,
I'm even disappointed because I expected him to be given 75%.
You left out 2 other regions when I asked where your candidate would do well. You did not mention.
I told you. Okay, we didn't finish that question. If you look at South is still dicey. I have a governor from there, and also have Edo.
Edo is PDP.
Edo is PDP.
I know Edo will fall my way.
I mean, so by your projection, Alhaji Jamiu Olawumi, I mean, you seem to be saying the entirety of the Nigerian state will vote for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
That will not be possible.
Because you said you have the 3 zones in the north locked down for you. You're projecting that the south will go with you also. That's 4 zones. In the south now, you're saying you have...
There are six states there. I'm only talking about 2 states.
And what are those states? Edo and which other state?
Cross River.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the south is regarded as a PDP stronghold.
No. Not when some governors are not flying with the president, with their candidate.
Don't you think
you have rivers there? It cannot be resolved.
Well, as you say, 24 hours is a long time in politics.
Even 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. So what if that happens?
Depends on who gets to where before another person.
Okay, so apart from those 2 states in the south, what are
let me tell you for free, we are not relying on G5 governors because it's a pendulum. It swings left and right. So you cannot put your eggs in such a basket if you're a good planner and a strategist for winning election. But the scare there will remain. What is happening among these 5 governors, the G5, and between their presidential candidates? It will not go for free because the daily rise in undecided voters there tells you something is wrong with what they are doing among themselves. And the cleverer will reach and fish in that water.
Okay, so let's move on to the southeast now.
Southeast is restive.
But there will be elections there.
There will be elections. And I have 2 governors there. We have never lost in the last 12 years. We have always been in power in the last 12 years in Imo State.
How do you mean? Imo State?
Yes, we are Okorocha was for 8 years. And hope is there now. So I won't lose that state.
But before the Supreme Court judgment, Emeka Ihediho of the PDP actually won.
For 6 months.
And some people felt that was a reflection of the people's wishes.
No, it was a sort of infighting within my party. When the sitting governor is campaigning for a candidate of another party. Let me tell you, if you look Nigeria, like in other advanced democracies, 2 parties are always superior to other parties. So the pendulum will swing between the 2. So when Imo was when they were undecided, when there was gap, when there was skirmishes, when there was misunderstanding in Imo State between the governor, Senator Okorocha, and his in-law that he had preferred to succeed in, then the people have to go the other way. And the Supreme Court has given them a reversal, which is better for me. You can't say that the governor is managing the peace in Imo State, where not minding the restiveness of the southeast region, will not give me 25% in that state. Poorly 25%, I'll get.
And what happens in other states?
I still have a Ebonyi there. I have 2 states in the southeast, out of 3 states. Out of 5 states, rather.
You don't think the other 3 can neutralize the 2 that you have?
It's not a matter of neutralization. It's what you are bringing in. Do you know the qualification to become a president? During the election, 2/3 of the total number of states must score 25%. That will not stop you from scoring 70, 85% some other states. So what are you neutralizing just in Southeast?
So for some of the other states, aside the 2 states you currently control, you'll be comfortable with just getting the 25%.
In how many states?
In some of the other states, you know, outside the two. That's
outside the two, yes.
States.
Outside the two, yes. Outside the two.
But you are sure of winning in a
let me tell you, as poor as you think Southeast is going to be for APC, businessmen from that region have donated 1 billion to our campaign. Why would they not give it to Obi?
And do you think that like you've been saying with the polls, do the donations translate to goodwill? Do they translate to election result?
Do you give people who are not going to be who will say is not competent, who you say is not likely, even when you are trying to make some games, play some games that let us be seen in the camp of Asiwaju as supporting him, in the camp of this way as supporting him. What have they given to their own son?
How would you be sure that they've not given anything?
They would have announced, because they announced out of Asiwaju. There are a lot of things that are going to election, fairer than what we are talking here.
All right.
So, I mean, this poll, according to the organizers, the data also summarizes the top 5 reasons why voters are more inclined to vote in the forthcoming elections. And these include the need to tackle insecurity, which is 35%, the economy, which is 26%, unemployment, 10%, poverty alleviation, 7%, and education, 6%. And in all of this, your party has been in power for the past 7.5 years.
Yes.
There are many who believe that your party has not done well in this regard.
Yes,
and
especially when we have established close to 14 universities.
I mean, so that's
2 polytechnics.
You're talking about education. So education is carried just 6%.
You are talking about education, but I'm talking about employment.
7. So, you know, I mean, let's take one after the other. Insecurity takes the larger percentage, which is 35%. How do you intend to convince the Nigerian people that they should give your party another chance at Aso Rock? With 35% of the respondents believe that insecurity is a major concern for them.
It used to be a major concern.
Is it still not a major concern?
It is not, because of what we have done. We have continuously decimated the incident of Boko Haram and banditry. And I can tell you, when last did you read or you have given to people on your news explosions and bombings in Nigeria?
I mean, so we see it, right? I mean, of killings and kidnappings in Zamfara,
kidnapping,
in Kaduna.
Kidnapping, yes. But to a larger extent, we have equaled ourselves to the task, and it has gone down significantly.
Since when, Alhaji? Because, I mean,
a lot of roads that were closed for 4-5 years have been reopened to traffic.
You're talking about the northeast? In
the north.
Okay, so what about the issues that are now spread down to the north central, to the northwest?
When you are talking about north central, it's only in Kaduna. And Kaduna has been restive enough since the time of Babangida. Since the time of Zango Kataf, that place has not known peace. They know how they live by it. They know how they live with it. And it has never affected elections. So the issue of North Central and Kaduna specific, it has become a phenomenon, and we are tackling it.
What about the Northwest? Where banditry seems to have taken a life of its own. Where
banditry and Boko Haram are 2 sides of a coin. So when you decimate Boko Haram, you are decimating banditry.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure that's the thinking of the people in those areas?
I forecasted it. Let me tell you, I forecasted it. When Boko Haram war was raging for long, and there was a need for them, there will be a need for them to recoup and buy more ammunition. I wrote on one of my series that there will be kidnapping for people to pay money so that they can have access to further ammunition. It is 1 + 1 thing. You get 2. This is not a matrimonial mathematics.
But are you sure your party has done well enough to earn another term in office from the Nigerian people?
For this country, for the government, we run in Nigeria to have acquired sophisticated weapons to this level, Super Tucano, and other equipment, and driving them away from Nigeria. And we will just have just 2 local governments in contention out of 14 in Borno State. We have really served well.
Well, if I were to take you up on that, two local governments could also well be very dangerous if we're looking at numbers.
Yes,
and
out of 774.
Yes, could also be very dangerous.
Yes.
You just said that 1,000 out of 90 million is insignificant.
Then 2 will be insignificant to 774.
Yeah, but we're talking about lives, safety of lives. We're talking about safety of property. We're talking about confidence in the security agencies. We're talking about people believing in the government. We're talking about people going to bed with their 2 eyes.
To solve insurgency problem, your solution cannot be taken off the shelf of a supermarket. You have to build manpower. You have to do training. You have to buy equipment. These 3 we have satisfied.
So why are the results late in coming, sort of?
Because you can't. Result is not by a sudden flight. Let me tell you, I have an experience I can share with you. I was living in Ife, and I'm from Ife. During the crisis, communal crisis in that place, you have security, carrying arms, other combat materials, patrolling the road and the streets. But within the compounds, there was war. Because nobody will announce to the soldier on the road that we are going inside Agumbele to go and fight somebody. So you have hit and run. What we have now is hit and run crisis of insurrection, of insurgency rather. The hit and run will be tackled when people provide information. After all, most of these people live within the environment. If they conceal information, it is to their peril. So what the government requires is the information from the people. And where we are getting the information, you can say, when last did you hear anything about insurgency, kidnapping, or Boko Haram in Yobe State? Because they provided information.
So the economic situation of the country,
yes,
would that not be a big drawdown for you?
Let me tell you, I'm happy where you are going. Nigerians should congratulate themselves for having Buhari as their president.
How?
And why?
If the Anchor Bora scheme for rice did not work, you can fact check if you have means of fact checking here. A bag of rice that is sold there at 38,000 naira is sold 65,000 naira equivalent in Ghana. The Anchor Bora scheme that has brought down the very high level of importation of rice has cushioned the effect. And that is why foreign rice, the price has not gone up. If the Anchor Bora scheme has not succeeded, you can imagine how much you are going to buy a bag of rice. If Anchor Bora scheme has not succeeded, you can imagine how much you are going to be buying beans and other grains. This government is very, 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 very passionate.
But, with the success, yes, so with the success of that Anchor Bora scheme,
yes,
so Nigerians will readily compare what it was in 2015 before the government came into power and what it is now, and look at their purchasing power.
What is the purchasing power of an average American in 2014 and now?
No, so Nigerians will not be concerned about the America.
Because
they are concerned about Nigeria.
Your country cannot be living in isolation.
But so the person in Agumbele who does not know what happens in Detroit.
He should be made to know.
No, but it will care less.
It's causing in the US.
No, so it will want to know.
It's paying more for fuel.
So Alhaji,
last week there was fuel crisis in France.
Causing in the US also earn more?
It does not earn more.
Yeah, perhaps it does, but more. For context, Alhaji, it will say he bought rice 8,000 naira in 2015, or less than 10,000.
And when the government,
and now in 2022,
yes,
he's buying rice between 35 and 40,000 naira.
Yeah.
So, how do you explain that? Do you think they will have the confidence to want to say she's continuing in power?
Let me tell you, who among the candidates is going to conjure rice if elected into office. You want miracles, don't want to work. That's Nigerians. You expect the president to conjure rice or give facilities and enable environment to farmers who have established rice mills across Nigeria?
And so the critics have said that is
if you don't produce,
policies that led to that.
What policy of the government that led to it? You are a journalist. Tell us what.
Yeah, so they say a combination of policies,
policy of you policy of you not working, or people not going to farm to increase the exports.
Not going to farm because of insecurity. Because their lives are threatened.
Where? Policy of government that has encouraged you to increase your GDP. When the GDP does not grow up, there will be scarcity. Dollars will be expensive because we are not earning dollars. And the diaspora activities will be affected. If the diaspora activities were not affected, there won't be all this increase that we are talking about. So if you are not producing and you are creating jobs elsewhere, or people who are producing, you are buying from them, then you buy more, you pay more.
So there has been a data circulated in the past few weeks, of showing what it was in 2015 and what it is now. And the example of rice that I gave was perhaps just one of about the 20 items on that list.
Yes.
So they said the impact of the cost and the rise in the cost of living is been felt across board. So they said from food items, so you check the level of inflation. And to some people, it's a referendum on the performance of the APC administration.
Yes.
Do you think Nigerian people, Nigerian voters, will be willing to try and continue with the APC
they will vote for it because they know we are courageous at tackling those problems.
But, so why has it not been tackled effectively in the last 7 years?
We have tackled it effectively. At the first instance for our Bora scheme was 100 billion naira.
So why have we not seen the effect in the crash?
The effect is we have local rice that is comparable to the imported ones.
But it's also very expensive.
Because by the time you get the market saturated, the price will crash. So,
according to data, Alaji, the average Nigerian spend about 60% of his earnings on food alone.
Okay. If
food inflation.
If it's going to be another person in power,
yes,
not APC, when there is going to be a flood that will submerge millions of hectares of land, it will go and stand before the dam so that it will not come.
Are you saying it's a flood that is responsible for?
No, I'm telling you, natural disasters are also factors.
So there was also a flood in 2012 during Jonathan administration.
There has always been flood.
Yes, would that be a valid excuse for the government this time?
Because at that time, the GDP was okay.
So why is the GDP not okay now?
Because you and I know what we are doing. That is not helping the GDP.
What are we doing that is not helping the GDP?
What are we doing? What are Nigerians doing?
What are those things that will increase the GDP that we are not doing, that we are no longer doing?
No, we are waiting for you to tell us.
So what are those things?
It is about our country. You don't have any other country. Yeah.
Nigerians elect leaders.
If you have opinion, hear your opinion.
So Nigerians elect leaders to help them turn situations around.
We are solving the problems. We are solving the problem.
Are you doing it well enough?
We are doing well enough.
So, for instance, at this moment, there's a very challenging fuel crisis with people queuing,
like they had in France just last week.
Do you think the comparison really works?
It works.
How?
It works because when you want to fix a problem, what you are going to provide has gestation period. Like I said the other time, you can't solve the problem of economy, of security by a sudden flight. Because there are people that must be talked to. There are certain steps that must be taken. And this issue of insecurity and Boko Haram, whatever, started under the PDP. And human activities in war and crisis versus when people are not forgiving, when people want to take vengeance. It was vengeance that escalated into all this. And it has been given different meanings, different interpretation by people who are involved. So when you are doing reorientation, when you are doing rearrangement and resuscitation, it requires a lot of effort. And this government must be credited for being equal to the task of solving the problem.
All right, so let's take you back to the polls now. 71%. Yes, 71% of the respondents think the presidential candidate should compulsorily participate in a televised debate and or town hall meetings, with the debates/town hall meetings spanning across topics like their manifestos, competence checks, and personality recognition, amongst others. Your principal has been in the news recently.
Yes, he will not attend a debate or media chats conducted or supervised or anchored by a former deputy governorship candidate of PDP.
Okay, so why is it not doing a debate? Because there's just one media organization.
Wait.
Okay.
Wait. You know, I also understand this terrain. And I know when media organizations opinionate their stance. You understand? I'm a critic of Arise Television and Channels Television, including the AIT. Because personnel around that corridor are partisan.
All three?
The three. I'll tell you.
Including Channels Television?
I'll tell you why. I've watched campaign reports on Channel Television where they use still pictures for Asiwaju and moving pictures for PDP. Please take time to watch. Perhaps you have not been taking note of it. So we know we have to take our products.
Okay, so Nigerians have not said.
Excuse me. People who are involved in arms deal money, who refunded money back to government, owns the Arise Television. It was with Asiwaju yesterday to make pleas.
You're talking about the owner of Arise Television?
The owner of Arise Television. Ruben Abati, that you see, was deputy governorship candidate to Kashamu in Ogun State.
Because of our time, so you have trust issues.
Also conducted a debate, and your candidate
still not. And then your candidate also has his own media empire. So why not attend a debate, for instance, of the TVC and the Nation newspaper? Perhaps that will solve it.
People don't vote for people because of talking on media chat.
But you just said,
listen. It is at my own risk if there are people who will make up their mind and they are not seeing me. I'm not crying. But I know we have to campaign and get votes. What I require is votes, not the oratory power of any candidate on television.
But they want to hear them firsthand on some of the things.
We have published our manifesto and we have run our campaigns live for more than 3-4 hours. What debate again do you want? You are not watching us live, where we talk for about 3-4 hours, coming to your room, to your home.
You know, that's just the candidate talking. People want to interrogate them and ask them questions.
Wait. We have been meeting opinion holders, critical stakeholders, like I said yesterday, who know what to ask about the economy, who knows what they need to promote their business and trade. These are the people that requires question and answer. Like if I to ask anybody question about this place, I can ask you. I can ask the CEO. Your studio will look like what? What's going to be the hours of transmission? But you cannot take it away from me that he has put down a good business. If you are now asking what does what, who does what, then it's an addendum. Nigerians has never voted in line of debate. There was debate in 1993 for MKO and Tommy Kimi. What happened at that debate? But I can't take my candidate to the guillotine of PDP audience.
Is it because his handlers are not comfortable with his ability to do well at those debates? Is that why? Because of the media has highlighted a number of gaps from your candidate, of miscues and here and there. And they said maybe this is why the APC people are trying to hide away.
What are we hiding from him? Away from them? You said they've criticized his not ready. He has been conducting campaigns every day.
And I mean, they said he's made some comments. I would say Balabulu, and then they said
what? All those flippants, you can see across the party now. The wife of Atiku was campaigning for APC.
So it's not because there is an issue with Asiwaju, that's why you...
Somebody for Labour Party yesterday was also campaigning for APC. And you see these political parties over time, you have had people cross-carpeting. So if you are thinking about your good days in your former party, you want to talk and mention that party. So we know ourselves. And we know what we have been together and how we have been together. So all those things are irrelevant. At times you want to call a friend you think you are beside another friend. So what is so significant about that? It's not an issue.
All right. Well, it appears that we have to go now. We hope to bring you back to
tomorrow.
No, not tomorrow.
Or maybe when another polling. But I mean, so you believe that this
I'm not going to be coming to talk to Post. This something insignificant like this. 3,000 people talking on behalf of 90 million people.
Well, that's what it is. That's what it is, and we'd like to leave it at that. We've been joined in the studios this morning by former special advisor to the outgone governor Adegboyega Oyetola.
To the former governor, not outgone.
Outgone. Former no longer the governor at the moment, Governor Adegboyega Oyetola. Atalaji Jami Olawumi, thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
It's a player.
All right, that's the interview segment of Morning Spring. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram at Western Spring Television, and on Twitter it is at WSTV_NG. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. I will be coming back for Spring Trends. I think Femi needs to go get some chicken.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I need to run. Thank you so much for being a part of the program this morning. Emmanuel will be back with what's trending. I wonder what's trending and what is going to show us on what's trending this morning. But just stick around. Femi Olanikwekun is my name. Good morning.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West. And Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered because your girl got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be showing on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. Adeoye Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever expounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast, detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that flew across borders are fired. Stories short and long, wrapped in bundles of words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
It's the weekend. Welcome to Spring Trends on Western Spring Television. Woo! 2 days to Christmas. It is buying, yagi in the body of everybody right here in Western Spring Television. We're ready to eat the chickens. We're ready to eat the rice. Welcome to Spring Trend once again. My name is Emmanuel Ujiadigili. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook and Instagram at Western Spring Television. And at Twitter, it is at WSTV_NG. You can also watch us live and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Now that we've danced, let's get straight to business. We have for you this morning what has been trending throughout the week on Twitter. Now this week, a Twitter user put up a tweet asking a very critical question. This person, Abolish Semo Esquire, Sami Saliu, asked a very important question. And this is the question. It says you have a concert, a gospel music concert, and you're charging people to worship God. As if that's not even problematic enough. You now have classifications for the audience, table, VIP, and normal for a gospel concert. How is this okay? Now, that question has been on for a while. Should people pay to attend gospel concerts? Should people pay to attend concerts where they are meant to worship God? Now, let's see what the responses are. The first response is from a member of the National Assembly. Oloye Akinlabi says, I'm kind of conflicted here. My entrepreneurial instinct is like, of course, the person used money to organize it. Second thought, gospel music is preaching through music. It's evangelism. You shouldn't charge for that. The next comment is from Rinu Odwala. She says, you go pay Ashake 70K, but you know go one pay gospel artists because them they invest money for backyard. Omo Baba Bello says, I beg to differ, Rinu. The things of the gospel is different from secular things. The gospel is made for free. If anyone is blessed by the ministry of gospel minister, they'll be willing to give to the ministry of such. Ashake, on the other hand, is doing it for money. Now, the next comment is from The Grace. The Grace says, I don't understand. How will they set up the concert without money? And the musicians, don't they have families? And Abolish Semo says, all right, how about the people that would want to fellowship with other believers, but they are too poor to pay for such a concert? And the next comment comes from Blessed. Blessed says, Jesus compares the gospel to a man who finds a field of treasures and sells all he has to buy it. If Jesus uses that analogy today, you people will preach to him. People should pay 70K to go see Ashake, but it's gospel artists that should hold concerts for free. Alpha Female says, you are not competing with Ashake, though. You are not. What Ashake stands for, gain, is money. What we stand to gain is souls. The cost educating our fathers was also great, but the missionaries did it. When it comes to souls, we should go all the way. Imagine the experience being charged. And the last comment is from Oreoluwa's husband. It says, this is disingenuous. A, you know that events directly about the gospel are free. No community does free concerts than the Christian community. One, these concerts are a lot to make happen. Two, these artists are invited make a living from what they are doing. Abolish Semo says, cost is immaterial to the means for fundraising. How are we taught in scripture to do that? How is it that holding people to a more conservative outlook with regards to that, which is being obtainable in scripture, is described as disingenuous? Are you really tolling this line? Now, that is that on the issue of gospel and payment. Now we move on to Lagos, and in a very sad story yesterday, you can see on your screen that many people were feared dead as 40-feet containers fall on cars in Lagos. But eventually, we were made to know that only one person, the driver of the Danfo involved in that accident, died. Other persons escaped. But it is a sad story. Now let's see how people are responding to that on social media. Observation Lord says, until Nigeria starts doing the right thing, unfortunately things like this will keep happening. Any truck conveying containers should be low bed. And if they use high bed, they've got to belt it. But you will never see such too bad. ECEC says, can these container carrying trucks be moving at night only? Our roads are too bad, and even the strapped ones can still fall. The next comment up there is from Retired Nigerian. It says, only one death. I was there live, like I said, and you can't imagine the fine margins with which others escaped. If Nigeria had a working emergency system, the guy who didn't make it would probably been saved. You can't imagine the sadness I felt seeing someone struggling helplessly for his life. I have never been more heartbroken and sad. Next comment is from Nigerian Landlord. And then he says, Kai Yahala, if roads are good, vehicles inspections officers are doing their jobs diligently. Road safety aren't just issuing driver's license to anyhow citizens. Nigerians driving with caution and most importantly, follow the rules, the road rules, and maybe people for they are alive today. And the next comment is from Falconizer. Trucks are not allowed to ply certain roads in daytime in many Western countries, if not all. In Nigeria, nobody cares about governance. They are all playing politics. Instead of being proactive in action, we are reactive emotionally only when tragedies occur. So sad. And the last comment there is from Reg Ledger. It says, I thought we all agreed the last time something like this happened that we should keep good distance from trailers carrying containers. Don't drive by the side of one / be close to one on a Nigerian road. Patience, this could have been averted. Sad thing. And that's all we have for you on Spring Trends this morning. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook and Instagram at Western Spring Television. On Twitter, it is at WSTV. You can also watch us live and subscribe to our YouTube at Western Spring Television. On Twitter at WSTV_NG. Now, because it's the weekend and because Christmas is in 2 days, we'd like to ask you to please avoid any form of violence. If you get involved in a fisticuff, try to solve it amicably. And my name is Emmanuel Ojadigele. I'll be leaving you with this video of a thief who was caught somewhere in the southeast, and instead of jungle justice, this is what happened to him. Have a lovely weekend.
If you steal, you go dance, so this one no be money dance, so na stealing dance. This one no be happiness dance, so na sadness dance be that. Sadness dance, it no be happy dance. This one na sadness. You steal, you go dance.